Maybe not to the same extreme degree as we said it in the previous best of 3, but this man kind of needs to do something a bit wild, a bit special if he wants to end up winning this series, and I think he knows it. In the bottom left side, once upon a time, the gatekeeper of the North American scene, still a solid Zerg, of course, it is JonSnow.
In the upper right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from the Shopify Rebellion, it is Scarlett.
Scarlett is really playing in the dark, isn't she?
I was about to say Scarlett still hasn't turned the lights on from last year. The room is always dark.
I used to love playing in the dark when I was in my Warcraft 3 days. I was always grinding like 0 lights on only my monitor. I think that's why my eyes are really bad these days. In my days, Whitey, we still had the curvy CRT monitors, you know, they were kind of greenish and they were curved. They weren't even flat.
I remember those days, though. I saw one of them once, I think.
I used to carry them to LANs with me, mate. It felt like a proper workout before you got your LAN setup going, because those things are really heavy.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to do that one. I've had enough of a work. I've had to carry a bunch of stuff downstairs the last few days. I had to carry those big monitors. That would not be doing too good, I'll tell you that much.
All right, what are you hoping for in this ZVZ? Obviously, last series, bit of a silly one, and yeah, we had some delays. We also have an update for you guys, by the way, before Waddy can answer his question. I believe that one result did take place in this group, and that is correct. Nemchar lost his series versus Vindicta, it was. Vindicta, my man from San Diego, getting a 2-0 over Nemchar. And Nemchar, it's not really working out for him here in this season of the DreamHack SC2 Masters Summer. Because he really has not been playing a lot of StarCraft, because we both know if the Nemchar of 2019 would have shown up, or 2020, he should have been doing pretty well in this group.
Yeah, there's no way Nemchar's meant to be 0-4 if he's practicing. There's no way at all, so... Yeah, that's for sure. It actually makes this group really interesting then, right? Because we're going to see a real fight between Epic, Victor, JonSnow, Trigger. These guys really going to scrap it out for the playoffs, so very important for JonSnow to try and pick up a win here, pick up an upset would be amazing.
Yep. And obviously, like, these standings can be a bit deceiving, because right now it may look like JonSnow is doing better than Trigger is, but Trigger lost versus Neep and Scarlett, two players that most people in this group are going to lose against, while JonSnow had 2 wins over Nemchar and Masa, 2 players that, yeah, it sucks to say it at a big prestigious event like this, but they're simply not practicing very much, so don't get too carried away and don't think that Trigger is out by any means, because I absolutely believe that he can rally in these final few playdays.
Feeling that's coming up on either side of the map here to kickstart this CVZ. A little bit faster from JonSnow. Scott's just got a few extra drones already finished, so little differences across the board. I don't think JonSnow's going to be able to get away with doing too much here. He's already starting up Need with him back at home, so a little bit faster on that as well. And just in general, JonSnow just a little quicker to do things this game.
I saw a funny clip of one of the games that Scarlett was playing yesterday. I'm sure you've seen it too. Where he was drawing an S with the amount of sport colors he had in the late game against the pros. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay. It happened over at the B stream. Basically, right on the side where the Zerglings are, if you go down that ramp towards the left where the Overlord is chilling, Scarlett made a perfect S of sport crawlers because, I mean, he had too many sport crawlers, and I guess he was bored in the late game as he was winning. So he just started spelling an S of Scarlett.
Way to put your name on the map, huh?
I love that one. Look at you still being sharp. Now, JonSnow has quite a few Zerglings out. He's going to try to create some chaos here. Trying to pick off one of the defensive banelings of Scarlett. Hey, that's perfect by JonSnow. 1 Zergling for a baneling. I don't know how much the other Zerglings are really accomplishing. But now JonSnow is still the one with 2 banelings left. Waddy, can we get something done here?
Just when it's only the banelings, it's just so easy to control against, right? So Scarlett picks those off, and now she's going to continue through. She went for missiles, JonSnow went for carapace. So when you go carapace, you're typically aiming to play into like a Ling Roach pump, and then obviously being pretty aggressive with that because carapace benefits Lings and the Roaches. So it makes for pretty scary timing. Problem is JonSnow right now is down on workers and struggling to hold on here.
Those banings are not totally done yet, but a couple of them will finish up. But his hatchery is definitely in a bit of a pickle now. Scarlett's going to change her mind and goes for the queen instead. That's an easy pickup. And there's now actually Scarlett is the one with the baning here first. It gets a good connection too, and all that JonSnow has left is a couple of banings. I look at the work he can't brought in. I'm like, it's not looking very good, is it?
Yeah, I mean, Scarlett's just up 20 workers.
That's so many workers to be ahead 5.5 minutes into a game.
It just happened out of nowhere as well. Like, I feel like she defended the attack decently. And she came across to attack, and I was like, oh wow, she's like 3 workers ahead. And then this attack ends, and she's 20 workers ahead, and still, you know, doing okay on army. I mean, right now her army is lacking a little bit because JonSnow's building a lot of roaches and is going to go, so she just has to make sure she's not being too greedy here.
I kind of like what JonSnow's doing here. He's transferring a couple of drones from his natural towards the third, and it actually gives Scarlett the idea that we're gonna macro. Now Scarlett is gonna spot these roaches. I mean, if these roaches had speed, I'd be like, whoa, maybe JonSnow can catch Scarlett off guard. But now I really don't want to give the people at home any false hopes because Scarlett is already close to matching the army size of JonSnow. Let's see, he's doing it off a 25 worker lead. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. She's just too far ahead, right? Like, even being greedy, she's able to pump out so many units so quickly that now the army supplies even plus 1 missiles versus Carapace. I mean, Carapace is just the worst upgrade to have in Roach vs. Roach. There are 22 lings here as well for JonSnow, so maybe they can help, but there's also a lot of Banes from Scarlett, so that's good to have. Bane's are going to run into Banes and all sorts of green little explosions going to go off. Pretty good connections for JonSnow, I think, but it's not really going to change the game.
No, it shouldn't, especially not with all the extra roaches that are on the way for Scarlett. And JonSnow knows it. Doesn't even want to witness all of his roaches going down there, and he cracks a smile. I do love JonSnow. He's actually such a great character in the North American scene. He's always happy at events. He's always a really cool dude to have a chat with and hang out with. Yeah, I don't think he's coming into this one with expectations of taking down Scarlett. And it looked actually a little bit promising at one point. I'm like, all right, you know, we're trading out. And then JonSnow did a good job in picking up 1 or 2 banelings of Scarlett. And then it's like, you know, the meme where the guy's like, he blinks. It's like, well, Scarlett's got a 20 worker lead. That went real quick, Marty.
Real quick. It actually was really quick. I couldn't believe it. Like, in this duration of like 1 little attack, just boom, work account completely separate, no deficit to see, just perfect. So well played by Scarlett. You know, I kind of joked during the break. I was like, well, I hope at least the ZVZ is at least 7 minutes long, and it was 7 minutes and 1 second. So I got my wish, Roddy. It was perfect. Absolutely
I mean, that
perfect.
basically means that if the next game is at least 2 minutes, it's already a longer series than the previous one.
I know, it's just kind of crazy, right? Oh, I feel like NA started with some great matches today, Roddy, but the last couple have just been a little lackluster, unfortunately.
Sometimes we save the best for last. This time we saved the best for the very beginning, and then we had a few more series to get over with. That's kind of what it feels like. Obviously, we hope that we're wrong, and we hope that JonSnow can surprise us here in game 2. Maybe some 2-base Spire. What about that, Marty? Is that something you could work with?
I'll take anything, honestly. I feel like it's always good to switch things up. I don't know if 2-base Spy is necessarily the best way to play against Scarlett, but playing Ling Roach wasn't, so yeah, I guess this is about as different as you can go for an opening, right?
The nice thing is if you're like opening up on 2 bases and you just get a little wall of going, it's hard to fall economically behind because basically you're not going to produce any units, so you're just cranking out drones. Then you get a quick Spire going. There's a chance that Scarlett is going to fight back with her own Spire. I think that's the recipe for a fun game. Or maybe some 12 pools, Spinecrawler rushes, but none of that is happening. So let's just see what's going to happen here in game 2. In the top right side, we're looking at the main base of our Canadian Zerg, representing the Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett.
And down in the bottom left-hand side from Sidestorm Gaming, it's JonSnow.
He's been with Sidestorm for quite some time now, no? That must have been at least 3 to 4 years at this point.
Very, very long time, I think. I'm gonna look it up. Why not?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's hatched for us on both sides, so I think you can get away with this one, Barty.
4.5 years.
Loyalty out of JonSnow.
Yeah.
And
It was
System
nice from the
Gaming.
start.
Must have been around 2016-ish. That's the feeling that I have.
Trying to figure it out.
When did True win Montreal? Wasn't that in like 2018? Or? No,
No,
definitely not 2018. Must have been 2016, right? When True
Yeah, it
won?
must have been 2016. I'm gonna find out as well. It had to be 2016. There's nothing else that makes sense.
Yeah. No, but that was the year that he was already representing System Gaming.
Yes, 2016 WCS Summer. Best bet.
Look
Was
at
that
that.
was called WCS Summer? Yeah, it was. That was a crazy run by True. He was just
Yeah.
like not really an underdog, but just no one expected him to go all the way, and he
No,
had to go all the way.
Yeah, he was like a Korean that was very good, and everybody knew that it was going to be very hard to defeat True. But in the end, all he was going to do was make Zerglings, right? And eventually, some of these top Europeans should have been able to deal with the Zerglings of True. He was on fire that event. It's cool to see.
Yeah, and the win against both in the finals, I think, was a real like the stopping point everyone expected it to be.
Yeah.
He just cruised through that series.
Good dude. Good dude. Fun memories. Definitely some fun games. Let's see what JonSnow can do here in game 2. So far, everything is quite standard. And he's actually just going to go up to 3 bases. Zergling speed is on the way, so we're not skipping anything there. I mean, that'd be wild, going up to 3 bases without Zergling speed. But hey, any StarCraft, Waddy, I feel anything is possible.
I've seen some crazy things tonight. I wouldn't put it past them. So, yeah, tank speed, drones, third hatchery. This one gonna look pretty standard for the moment. We'll see if anyone wants to bypass that Baneling nest. Or if we're just gonna see Bane nest on both sides again.
Maybe Scarlett wants to have some fun in this one. Maybe some +1 melee Zerglings with a late Aspire and just try to create a lot of chaos with Lynx. Obviously, normally that would have already been an Evo chamber, but I have the feeling that Scarlett is feeling very confident in this one. She's been having some fun so far in the group stage, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to see Scarlett showing up and looking good. It's she's obviously one of those players who also kind of, I feel like, doesn't really show up for a little while, and then you see her and she's like, you're like, oh yeah, she's really good right now again, or she's not quite top shape. Like, you never really know what you're gonna get with Scarlett, but at the moment it seems like it's been a pretty good run for her. So.
I feel like what we do always know is that if Scarlett is serious and she is practicing a lot, she's still one of the very best foreigners. Like, I will always die on that hill. I just know that if she is really putting in the hours, that she can make it hard on anyone. Because even when Yona had his invincible year, I say this very often, but Scarlett had him on the ropes twice. Back then in Valencia and also in definitely in Montreal. That wasn't like 100% win, and I think in Valencia they had a very close series still. Would be fun to see. For now, it's just JonSnow producing a lot of Zerglings and actually finding some damage, picking up a queen. We're gonna get a couple of drones here. Successful start here for JonSnow.
Yeah, not going bad. Of course, he was much lower on the drone count starting this out, so we need to do a little bit of damage. Obviously, Scarlett is going to fall behind on drones. JonSnow drone is doing this. And now Scarlett can get back on her drone production.
Wow.
Yeah, that one Bane, but there was only one Baneling there. Like, nothing else ever got into the natural, I don't think, so it was never really in danger.
Always so unsatisfying, right? You see so many low. That brings you back to the Vanya game too, where we had like 5 drones, 1 hit away from dying. But he actually had 8 Zerglings there too, so it's like, Vanya, right click.
His Lynx and Scarlett going to counter-attack a little bit. She's still droning. She's going to work for an M+1. While JonSnow will prioritize that lair a little bit faster here, so see if he wants to do anything with the lair. I mean, could potentially go up into a Spire here pretty quickly.
Well, this is an excellent start by JonSnow, but there are a couple of Banelings wiggling their way into this middle line, but wasn't super saturated. Scarlett will pick off that low HP drone. And he knows he wants to come back for the other low HP drone too. But I don't think he can get that one. And JonSnow still just cranking out 10 drones immediately behind all of this. Definitely holding his own so far here on Oxide.
Absolutely. As this live finishes up, excited just to see what exactly JonSnow builds into. He does start +1 missile, so I suggest against seeing something like the Spire. Maybe we do just see roach speed, roaches, and going on from there. There's that roach speed.
Yeah. Feels like anything else is not really an option. Scarlett, on the other end, is already up to 6 extractors. Could Scarlett be the one dropping the Spire immediately?
Could be. I imagine she definitely goes roach speed and Spire, right? So That could be a possibility for sure. She's also going Overlord speed. So, yeah, I'm not sure how this year starts. Doesn't seem like there's too many intentions just yet. There's still time, of course. You see these rings still hunting around, looking for a drone here. Open up information.
Take a look at the center of the map. I know we've got a couple of zerglings running around there, but Scarlett is actually running a lot of drones. That's not the only one. There are 3 more drones behind all of this. There's like 7 or 8 drones that are being rallied towards the other side of the map. And JonSnow also has drones near the rocks. All right, mate.
Okay, well, I mean, we hadn't seen a drone rush today, right? So, add that one to the list.
Check marked.
We should play NA Bingo, NA StarCraft. We would have had a full house tonight. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Scarlett's going for a drop alert. Could be cool. Well, do we have any banings left? Just one. So just read for roaches. She kind of like some roach multi-prong with a couple of roaches coming out of the drop alert. Pick them up. One-shot some drones. Pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, I think a few roaches definitely. She invested that Overlord speed earlier, right? So may as well make use of it with a little bit of the drop players. A single campaign leads the charge. Will not do too much. JonSnow's supply has skyrocketed in the last few moments here. Going for a lot of roaches, and if his +1 finishes, he's going to get aggressive and still a bit scary for Scarlett. She's investing into +2, +1, and that's money you spend that isn't in army right now. And that's going to make this very challenging for her to defend, and JonSnow looks as though he might just push on through this.
Yep, absolutely. Scarlett is also forced to cancel those morphing roaches into ravages, which means we're going to have to defend with nothing but roaches. JonSnow knocking on the front door, and yeah, he just has more of everything at this point. That drop load is obviously not going to help out too much. It's a numbers game, and the numbers just heavily favor the American Zerg here.
Yeah, he had a good start, that little bit of aggression, and he really just blew up in the last couple moments here. Scarlett didn't quite realize just how many roads on the way out, and you can just see it in the production. Still, that +2, +1 that doesn't achieve anything. That's GG, and this is going to a game 3. We were all so wrong on the predictions, Roddy. We doubted JonSnow, but we were the ones that didn't know anything.
Yeah, it's a big W, especially with this group looking potentially very close down the line. Winning a map here could make the difference in the end. So well done by JonSnow, and he's not even done yet. Still in the running to win the entire best of 3. And it does mean it's time for our final break of the day. After this, we'll be back with the decider match between Scarlett and JonSnow. And for the last time today, we welcome all of you guys back to the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Master Summer, where it's time for one more ZVZ to determine who's going to win our final series of the day. Maybe Scarlett just got a little bit too carried away there. What a double Evo, going up to 4 bases before our opponent and rallying a drones to the other side of the map. That possibly didn't help.
Yeah, that probably didn't help, did it? Just all the little things add up, right? And when JonSnow hard commits, I reckon he's got a UI book. That's my prediction. Yeah. I put it in there before he typed it. Nice. Cool. So we probably get a regame. Yeah, no.
So he's got the Warcraft 3 one. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Leaves and stuff? And I was like, oh, he's talking about the green overlay of Warcraft 3 Remastered.
Better than some of the others. Some of them get like bright pink overlays. I don't even know what the bright pink one is.
I think that's from the Commander Han, because I think Nathanius played with that one for a long. Or the Twitch Prime one. There was a time where if you got something on Twitch and you use your Prime, then you got a console. And I don't have that one because I never had a Prime. Yeah, I think
Oh, you don't have Amazon Netherlands, do you?
No, I mean, they're working on it now. They're starting to try to make their way into the market. And I've got a few of my Dutch friends, my in real life friends that have Amazon Prime. I was like, hey, you can sub to me. And they're like, oh, why would I do that? I was like, well, it doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, and then they're like, well, what do I get out of it? And I'm like, really? Like, I've known these guys for 25 years. And they're like, what do I get out of it? I was like, what if I give you €2 and then you use your Prime with me? They're like, well, pay up and then you get my Prime. I was like,
grinding that profit, man.
Like, nice guys. We went to elementary school together and you guys are still hustling me when I'm 34. You can do something for me for once, but no, Waddy. They didn't want to do it.
Oh, amazing. All right, we are going to hop on into this game again, hopefully with 100% less UI bugs this time around. It will be Jack Natha for the deciding map between Scarlett and JonSnow, so I actually think this could be pretty entertaining. You know, Scarlett showing that she just can't do what she wants, and JonSnow does have some timings that can work pretty well. So, the early game as well went well for JonSnow, right? It's worth keeping that in mind. The early game went well, and that's where it all started off.
Yeah, absolutely. Just found some pickups with the Zerglings. We got a Queen, we got a couple drones. JonSnow was able to hold his own. And then, yeah, Scarlett morphing the roaches into Ravages down the ramp, thinking that she had a little more time than what she actually had. I think that really didn't help either, because if Scarlett has a couple of Ravages there to buy time, then I'm pretty confident that she can still squeeze out enough roaches to at least hold. Maybe we have to pull the drones for a split second, and it won't be nice. But if you can then defend, eventually the double Evo kicks in, it would have still been a playable game.
Apparently Scarlett actually uses the leaf overlay.
Yeah. She's confirming that it's the Warcraft 3 Night Elf one. The one thing that's a bit tricky about those overlays is that the text look different, and that really throws people off. Like, I think the clock looks a bit different, and then whenever you want to type something, because they have a very different font over in Warcraft. Oh yeah, Scarlett's saying as well, the font is nicer.
Font is nice. Scarlett's just backing up everything you say, Roddy.
Yeah, I tried them, but I thought they looked pretty, but I couldn't really get used to them, so then I just went back to the StarCraft 2 ones. My favorite console is actually the Galactic one, which some players will ask for a rehose if they get that. They're like, oh, it's all blue and stuff, but I always thought the Galactic console is so nice.
All right, well, we do get into our game. No console bugs this time around. And we kicked off in the top right-hand side of the map with our Red Zerg player. Tied it up 1-1. It's JonSnow.
And that, of course, means that on the bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of our Canadian Zerg, still representing the Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. Just not super relevant here. Do you think Lambo can get it done against Sarah?
I think he's got a pretty good chance if he keeps on playing at a high level. And lately, he's been playing really well. I keep referencing his World Team League games, but that's why he's looked the best. And I think what's really cool about those games, and obviously the DreamHack Masters, is that they both share the idea of preparation. You know, you've got a couple of days to prepare for someone. And I think if Lambo goes in against Sarah with good preparation, I think it's a good series. I think it's a 3-game series for sure, at the very least.
That'd be very cool. He's done it before in the group stage of one of the DreamHack Masters events. I don't know which one last year, but never knew we had a dog on Juggernaut, but apparently we did.
Yeah, I mentioned this a little while ago and Possum started lecturing me about the critters again. So, trying to go again.
And then he squeezed out a joke of 3 guys trying to enter the Guinness Book of World Records.
I'm glad we didn't play that again during the time. I've honestly played that so many times.
It could be worse, mate. It could have been Rainer telling you a joke.
Yeah, well, thankfully he's not nice to me.
Why did you know imagine saying, not again, Rainer? Not again.
He's like, well, what? I put it on a brand new background picture this time. Shut up.
All right. Obviously, this is an important series for JonSnow. For Scarlett, it's also important because there's money on the line, and I'm sure that she wants to guarantee top 2 in this group as quickly as possible. If Scarlett would drop a series, that shouldn't be the end of the world for her. But for JonSnow, this could be a massive game changer if he somehow ends up winning this best of 3. And it'd be very bad news just for everyone else in this group, let's be real. Like, Vindicta's probably looking at this series and like, come on, Scarlett, don't do me like that. Because for Vindicta's probably going to be in a pretty close race with JonSnow for one of those top 4 slots.
I think everyone looks at the series like this group can get pretty close, right? And yeah, you're right, it's definitely a situation of even just a map win can be a pretty big deal here. And then it's probably that if he takes that series, it's just words other people have to find elsewhere, and that's going to be tough.
JonSnow did have 2 of the perhaps weaker opponents in this group so far. Yeah, winning a map here is a great start, and also probably a confidence booster for him that he can still do it against the top players in this group too. This is quite a few Zerglings making their way to the other side of the map early on. Scarlett is firing up a lot of links, but it's going to take a little while before those links show up. I think if JonSnow does a little bit of micro towards the bottom side of this hatchery, can we get a cancel here, Waddy?
Yeah, I think we're looking towards that. Link speed kicks in. Oh, cancel. Nicely done.
Yep. Incredibly well done there by JonSnow. Didn't waste too much DPS chasing the links, but still kept some of his own links. What you often see is that people grab like 6 links to chase the 2 links. And I'm like, no, we're losing too much DPS there. JonSnow could not have done that any better and puts himself in an amazing position because even though Scarlett made a lot of links on her side of the map, I think that JonSnow, with all these morphing banes and the extra HP on his hatchery, shouldn't struggle keeping his hatchery alive. And it really does mean that JonSnow's taking a serious lead here in Game 3.
Absolutely. Scarlett is drawing up quite heavily from this point, so trying to help out, definitely doing the right thing with these links. And I like that she kind of just backs them up and doesn't trade properly once the Balins are here. Because at least now she can maybe get away with just droning still even a bit further just to try and recover a little bit from this. Because right now she's on track to come out of this before like a 5 more drones build, like a pretty serious worker lead. And having that throughout, it's not like that third base is doing much other than unit protection. So as long as Scarlett isn't dying, it's not that bad, I want to say. Obviously, that wasn't so pretty.
No, I'm with you. It's definitely not that bad for Scarlett. I wonder what JonSnow is waiting for. It seemed like JonSnow was just really unsure whether or not Scarlett was going to go for another big attack. So he was waiting to spend some of his larva that he was sitting on. And now JonSnow decides to just build 9 drones at once. JonSnow, I think, got a bit scared about how good his start was. So he even built a spine crawler, which I really don't think he needed. And I don't think he needed it. Yeah. I think it's just one of these moments where it's like, well, this is going really well. Let's just make sure I don't die in the next 20 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say the spine crawler hurts you so much because it's not just thrown into the spine, it's the 100 minerals. And that's actually quite a big deal when it comes to kind of making, keeping the advantage. So,
wow.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't necessary.
The Lara is so late, by the way, on the side of JonSnow. I didn't even realize that. Scarlett, her Lara's already done. Spire is now on the way, 20% in. JonSnow is still just kind of sitting at home behind his spine and his wall off. That's going to be hard, man, because I don't believe that we can really find any window here where we can punish the Muda player before the Mudas are actually out.
Yeah, there's no timing here, right? There's nothing you can do to hit strike in time, so
Nidus,
you're just going to have to play defensively against it. Sorry?
Nidus, maybe. That's the only play?
Nidus?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can get behind that, maybe.
I think that is truly the only way. I mean, we're building extra queens on the side of JonSnow. We're building a lot of roaches, plus more missile attacks is on the way. I think the moment his lair is done, we need to drop a Nidus somewhere, and then we need to try to get that Nidus up on the other side of the map. Because if we're just going to sit at home and try to defend against the Mudas of Scarlett, I think we all kind of know how that story goes. It's now or never. And there it is. I don't hate it. I think it's the only choice.
I don't hate it either. It just could have been 10 seconds sooner, right? And like you said, I think every little second might help right now as Scarlett knows something is up. She's building those spine crawlers herself, so she's getting ready to prepare, make sure she can survive to get the Mutalisk up as well. Links come in, you're going to try and get rid of a Baneling or two, just help out here with lose a couple of links to Baneling connection. That Baneling does get the finish morphin in the end. We'll still get the kill on it for another 2 circlings. The Mutas are about to arrive, and yeah, I just still feel it's like it's just too late, right? I mean, how do you ever get the Nidus up now? Scarlett has pretty good vision around, she sees exactly where it is. That's pretty far off Nidus.
Yep, it's a far off Nidus, but like you said, the Muta's already out. Those 10 seconds really would have made the difference between these Mutas being out or not. And then this actually becomes a pretty complicated game. Now the Nidus does fall. I'm going to try to get a second Nidus up in the bottom right side, but every second that goes by is a great one for Scarlett, because that means more and more Mutas will arrive on the battlefield. And Scarlett wasn't born last night. C knows that it's never a single Nidus. Now this one will go off, but the Muta count is already pretty damn high. I gotta say, that's a reasonable amount of queens too, though.
It is, but obviously it's just so much has already gone past it, right? And Scarlett doesn't need to rush into this. She's going to move spines over into position, add a couple more. She knows exactly where JonSnow's going to attack from, and she just doesn't need to go too quickly. She's even going to launch the counter attack with the links, so she's going to put JonSnow in a pretty much absolutely all-in position, more so than before. Nice great reps and then so many links across the map, but well, they're definitely going to do some damage, Roddy.
Yeah. Now the Roaches are actually just dying one by one before the Queens are even participating in the battle. For a split second there, I was with you. I was like, Scarlett, maybe we should have kept some units at home just trying to survive, but this is going to be a very easy and convincing hold in the end. I'm sure a couple spore crawlers go up, but there is nothing to protect those spores. GG.